Hi, welcome to this lesson on prepositions. Let me get my highlighter here. All right. So prepositions is what we're going to be looking at today, and this should complement the lessons that you have online. And we will go over what is a preposition, prepositional phrases. We'll look at some examples, and then we'll look at how to decipher if a word in a sentence is an adverb or a preposition. So let's look at prepositions a little closely. Pretend that someone has just asked you for directions to your house. A small word such as before, at, across, or after could make all the difference in whether or not that person finds your house based on your directions. So here's us giving some sample directions. The house before the intersection is my house. The house at the intersection is my house. The house across the intersection is my house. The house after the intersection is my house. In each of these cases, this is a preposition word. So the words before, at, across, and after show the relationship of the house to the intersection, and these words are called prepositions. So a preposition is a word that shows the relationship between a noun or a pronoun and another word in the sentence. The easiest prepositions to identify are those that tell location. There's a link here for a short animated video that tells you some of the more common prepositions of location. So please watch this, and I'll send you the link too in case you're not able to click on it here. Back to the screen here with all of our example phrases here. So what we have here is on her boat, in a house, near the goat, under a mouse. So this here is the object of the preposition word. So here's our preposition word, and then the noun or pronoun that ends it is the object of that preposition. And then the last one is without a pass. Okay, so here's that sentence we looked at earlier. The baseball player in the white shirt hit a home run. So what is our object of the preposition here? Here's our prepositional phrase. Here's our preposition word. And then the object is shirt. So again, the object of the preposition is the noun or pronoun that ends a prepositional phrase. So here are the examples I showed you earlier. Here are some common prepositions. You'll want to print this screen or jot these down. You could also do a Google search for common prepositions and get a list of these, but the best way to really begin identifying prepositions in sentences is to start memorizing these words or keep the list handy until you are familiar enough with common prepositions that appear in sentences. Here are some more. You'll definitely want to know these ones also. They are very common. Let's look at some more examples. We spoke during my lessons. The person on that horse is my instructor. Don't ride among those tall trees. Down the hill, my instructor waited for me. So each of these words in bold and underline are preposition words. And yes, you can have more than one preposition in a sentence. So go ahead and pause your screen and try this one out. Go ahead and try to supply a preposition for each of these sentences that helps complete the meaning of the sentence. So pause your screen, jot down some answers, and when you're ready, unpause and follow along with me for my suggested answers. So hopefully you took some time to do that, and these are the answers that I came up with to complete the meaning of these sentences. The brown building behind the house is a stable. I cannot wait until the day of my riding lessons. The horse's stall is in the front. His name is on the door of his stall. Hopefully you matched some of these answers, and if not, you picked words that also completed the meaning of these sentences accurately. And if you were not successful on this, please do K-mail me and I will be glad to help you out. So keep in mind that not all prepositions tell location. If you've taken some time to look at the list of sample words that I'd shown you earlier, common prepositions, you're going to see that not all of them are words that tell location. So there's another video here, another YouTube video that I posted, and this one is from the School of Rock, and it's a song about common prepositions. So go ahead and watch this one too. It's only a couple minutes long and it might help you start getting familiar with preposition words. All right, a prepositional phrase is a group of words made up of a preposition, typo there, sorry, its object, and any words that describe the object. So here's an example. During lunch, we visited the museum. So during lunch is our prepositional phrase. And then during is our actual preposition word, and the object of during is lunch. Another example is they brought their lunch with them. In this case, with them is our prepositional phrase, with is the actual preposition word, and them is the object of that preposition. Prepositional phrases can have more than one object. A prepositional phrase can have two or more objects. Such a phrase has a compound object of the preposition. So it's pretty much the same thing. You're just looking for the word and, which is connecting our objects. So in this example, it says the lecture about the moon and stars was interesting. So here is our prepositional phrase. This is our preposition word, and this would be the compound objects of this sentence. So a sentence can also have more than one prepositional phrase, like we said earlier. And here's an example. During the lecture, I took notes on my computer. So here we've got a prepositional phrase. Here we have another prepositional phrase. All right, let's look at these sentences. Take a moment to pause your screen and jot down the prepositional phrases in these sentences. When you're finished, go ahead and unpause and follow along with me to compare your answers. Hopefully you took some time to do that activity, and go ahead and check to see if your answers aligned with mine. These are the prepositional phrases in blue, and then I've also got it in green if there was a second set of preposition words in that particular sentence. All right, so remember this. Remember that a word's role is determined by the sentence it's in. The same word can be a preposition in one sentence and an adverb or infinitive in another sentence. How a word is used in a sentence determines what part of speech it is. So a word such as above is a preposition only if it's part of a prepositional phrase. So it's got to have that object with it. It's an adverb if it stands alone and answers the question where. So let's look at that used. A jet soared above the clouds. In this particular example, above the clouds is a prepositional phrase. We have our preposition word, and then we have our object of that preposition. In this second example, it says we heard a jet above. Notice that above is not followed by anything. We don't have an object. In this particular case, above is an adverb that tells where we heard the jet. So again, it's not part of a prepositional phrase because there's no object of the preposition. Let's look at this example here. Go to the pizza store. In this example, to the pizza store is our prepositional phrase. To is the preposition word, and then store is our object. It's a noun that ends our prepositional phrase. Now look at the same word in this sentence. This one says, I want to eat pizza. So in this particular case, we still have the word to, but here it doesn't operate as a prepositional phrase because it's followed by a verb. It's not followed by a noun. So anytime you see the word to plus a verb, you actually have an infinitive, which is it's a verbal. It's not the actual verb of a sentence that would be known as the main verb. So don't let that fool you. So again, the same word can have a very different function depending on the structure of that particular sentence. So watch for that. Don't get used to seeing the word above, for example, and assuming that it will always serve the role of a preposition, because that's not the case. All right, let's look at when a prepositional phrase has an adjective in it. So prepositional phrases that are adjectives modify a noun or a pronoun. It answers the same questions as an adjective would, such as which one, what kind, and how many. Look at this one here. The puppy in the shop window jumped up. So in this particular case, we're talking about this phrase right here in the shop window. But in this case, it's operating as an adjective because it's giving us information about the puppy, the noun in this particular sentence. It's identifying which particular puppy are we speaking about. So when it answers that question, it's an adjective prepositional phrase. And then we have adverb prepositional phrases, and these modify a verb, adjective, or adverb. It answers the same questions an adverb would, such as where, when, and how. Here's the puppy sentence again. The puppy jumped to the food. So in this particular example, to the food is our prepositional phrase, but it's answering the question where. So in this case, we have an adverb. So basically, how do you know prepositions? Well, basically you need to memorize them, or at least learn to recognize prepositions in sentences. And so the best thing to do is to have a list of the words next to you. You can even print the ones in this presentation and keep them near you as you are working on your sentences. After a while, you will get familiar with them and you'll know what prepositions to look for. If there is no object of the preposition, such as if the preposition is not part of a phrase, then it is not a preposition. It's an adverb, just like the examples that I showed you. And again, you'll have to just start to get familiar with these words as you work on sentences. Look at these three sentences about a gecko. This first one says, the gecko climbed up the wall. In this case, this is functioning as a prepositional phrase. This one says, the gecko climbed up. In this case, it's an adverb. There's no object following the word up. This one has a combination of the two where it says the gecko climbed up on the wall. We've got our adverb as well as a prepositional phrase in this one. Alright, so go ahead and pause your screen and try this one out too. Identify the prepositional phrases and the objects of the preposition in these three sentences. When you're done, go ahead and unpause and follow along with me to compare your answers. So check to see if you got the same thing. The part that's underlined is the prepositional phrase, and then the circled part is the object of that preposition. So go ahead and pause your screen, compare your answers. If you didn't get any right, please do K-mail me or reach out on Skype so that I can help you. Alright, let's look at these ones here. The words in green. I want you to take a second to identify if these words are adverbs or prepositions. Keep in mind that prepositional phrases have to have an object. It's going to be a preposition word followed by a noun or a pronoun to complete that prepositional phrase. So go ahead and think about what these words are. Pause your screen. When you're done, go ahead and unpause and follow along with me to compare your answers. So the ones in blue are preposition words and the ones in red are adverbs. And again, notice that I have a complete phrase here where I have a preposition word and then it ends with a noun or a pronoun. In this particular case, I don't have that. That's why it's an adverb. It's going to answer one of our adverb questions. So go ahead and compare the rest of these, and if you don't get them correct, please again reach out to me so that I can help you. All right, so in this particular lesson, we went over prepositions, prepositional phrases. We looked at some examples and then also touched on the difference between an adverb or a preposition in a sentence. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please do reach out to me, and I definitely hope to hear from you. Take care.